Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Hong Kong Start-up Fiesta and Startup Express Master League. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending and tuning in for today's event. I know that we actually have many friends and guests and media friends that's with me in the audience, and of course, everyone that's at home that's watching right now. Thank you once again for coming. So let's give everybody a big round of applause, shall we? I know we can hear it. Thank you. And I know you guys are clapping at home too. So organized by the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, also known as HKTDC, the Hong Kong Start-up Fiesta is actually a campaign to co-create the Hong Kong startup landscape with players and builders that's in the ecosystem, comprising with a full range of startups events that is to promote knowledge transfer, to promote ideas exchange, talent development, peer sharing, as well as partnership building. Now, everyone, I'm sure you're curious as well. So let's take a look and see what this Hong Kong Startup Fiesta is all about. Good stuff. Very exciting to see all of the upcoming events that's brought by the Hong Kong Startup Fiesta and creating a platform for the ecosystem that is to grow and to develop. Now, there's actually 5 core events, which I refer to as the 5 pillars. That's including the Startup Express Master League. Now, that's the first one. There's the Startup Express Digital Book, Enterprise Connect Solution Day, Young Founders Camp, and as well as the Startup Express Pitching Final. And of course, and a series of partner events that's during May to June. So everyone, please do keep your eyes and ears peeled because there's a lot of good things that's coming up. Now today is actually the first official event of the campaign, and we are very, very glad to have 3 guests with us to show their support as well as to share some expert advice to the startup community. Now next to me, I have Mr. Stephen Liang, Assistant Executive Director of Hong Kong Trade Development Council, Mr. Jason Chu, Chairman of Hong Kong Startup Council, and virtually joining us, we have Mr. Calvin Choi, Chairman and CEO of AMTD Group. Hi, thanks so much for being with us. Now, because you're sitting the closest to me, so I'll ask you first. Now, let's start with something lightweight, shall we? Now, Stephen, I just want to know, how did the Hong Kong Startup Fiesta actually come about? What is it all about?
Well, good afternoon, Melody and guests. Back to your question. As the COVID-19 pandemic is slowly coming under control, I hope, and business activities are gradually getting back on track, we want to give startups a timely boost so that they can seize new opportunities. And that's why we decided to launch this campaign to encourage knowledge transfer, talent development, and partnership building. And on this, it's very important. We have to thank our campaign partners for this staunch support, including the Hong Kong Startups Council, Jason, AMTD Group with Jason, with Calvin joining us online, and the Federation of Youth Groups, W Hub, Entrelink, Advantage Austria, Junior Achievement Hong Kong, and more.
Right. Now, just to dig a little bit deeper, I know the Master League program actually, it debuts as part of the Startup Express this year, correct? But how does the Master League actually fit into the Startup Express? Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, many of our friends here must already know the Startup Express is a highly curated entrepreneurship development program, which is designed to help startups build connections, explore markets, seek partners, and enhance brand awareness. And we're very pleased that the program has helped quite a number of startups upgrade and grow over the past 3 years. And this year, it marks the 4th edition, and we wish to further expand our support for these startups throughout their entire life cycle, all the way until they become established scale-ups. And that's why we're launching this Startup Express Master League program. And the new scheme targets Startup Express alumni that have demonstrated the most vigorous business growth since joining the program.
Wow, so it's pretty much a gift that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll be giving more, and the selected startups in this Master League will be offered an extra year of marketing support. And of course, we have also gathered them here today to share more about their growth journey.
Wow. Now, I'm also curious now, to the public eye, I know that startups and scale-ups don't seem to have a lot that's in common, but I'm guessing there is actually some overlap, right? Is that correct?
Yes, you're right. Actually, they share some common attributes. For instance, they both have vision and passion. They have very clear goals and are passionate about their products, and want to make an impact on the world that no one can ever imagine. And they are also very agile and able to access different markets, flexible and resilient, even when facing tough situations like the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition, they offer superior solutions as well, aim to bring the best unique products and services to the market. But somehow even the best startups cannot work alone, and that's why we at the HKTDC will continue to support the startup ecosystem through various initiatives. And these include events such as the Startup Fiesta, our Startup Express program, of course, and IP Hatch Hong Kong. And furthermore, we'll also be bringing a mission to other cities in the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area to help those tech startups connect with the potential partners in the region, which is very, very important.
Well, that's actually quite a handful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Now, Jason, actually, just to elaborate on that a little more, since you just mentioned about the pandemic, with the COVID, it's been a tough year for the business community, and especially for the startups in particular, because they're so early in their life cycle, right? Can you actually give some pro tip or expert advice in terms of helping these startups get over this difficult time? More I see it kind of like a speed bump, but what do you think? What's some pro tip on that?
Well, hi everybody. First of all, thanks Hong Kong TDC for having us. Melody, indeed, I think it has been a very tough year for startups. In fact, for many, the word tough is an understatement. Speed bump is an easy description, but I think for over 1 year now, whether it's running out of cash, closing travel, closing market, travel ban, and all these disrupting supply chain, logistics, trade, everything. So it's a big challenge. But entrepreneurs and founders tend to be eternal optimists, and they tend to leverage and make the best out of a crisis. We have a saying, it takes an ecosystem to raise startups, but it takes a crisis to build truly great ones.
Wow, that's quite the quote. Is that an actual quote, or did you come up with that? That was really well said.
Well, that's from the bottom of my heart. Perhaps I read it somewhere before. This is not uncommon that crises produce tough time heroes. And investors, serial entrepreneurs or angel investors like myself, would look at exceptionally resilient founders, especially during this time. In fact, I know VCs, venture capitalists, are particularly looking to invest during this period, not at the early part of the crisis, but during this part of the crisis, because number one, the valuation comes down to more reasonable level.
Right.
Number two, you can actually tell who are resilient, who have the business mind to take the business to scaling up to the next level and to solve problems.
Right.
But I think on the more practical side, of course, for those who are not beneficiary of the pandemic itself, for example, you're not in remote everything, you're not in health tech, then you'll be faced with a lot of challenges. So conserve cash, do everything you can to pivot, make sure your cash flow is well managed, and doing all those pivoting, changing product, changing strategy, changing market, and all that without losing yourself. So stay true to your vision and values, and basically bring every stakeholders on board with you, whether it's mentors, investors, teammates, co-founders, business and trade associations, and the government to leverage their funding and support that you can get. And in the long run, I think it will be extremely rewarding. What does not kill you will ultimately make you stronger.
Oh, wow. I love the way that you actually just said that. I was like, wow, very, very well said. I'm so impressed. I love it. And now another thing is, you got a very good point. It's one thing that they have what it takes, but I guess a little support would go a long way as well, right? Now, the Hong Kong Startup Council has been extremely supportive in the startup community. And now, can you actually share with us a bit more of the initiatives that you've done recently so that we can have an idea?
Sure. Thank you, Melody. The Hong Kong Startup Council is part of the Federation of Hong Kong Industries. We are working closely with Hong Kong TDC and other stakeholders to build and support the startup ecosystem. There is a very unique value proposition for the Startup Council, and that is a powerful crossover between founders, startup founders, and industrialists. Because I think the first generation of entrepreneurs actually came from the Federation. The members of the Federation were the first generation who founded many big companies and industries maybe 50, 60 years ago.
Right.
And their second to fifth generation are now building their business, transforming them and upgrading them. They are the ones that partner, support, and invest in the startups for innovation and technology these days. So the industrialists and the startup founders actually need each other, especially those that require manufacturing or hardware or access to market in a physical sense. So basically, we engineer and design our program around that. Right. So we provide a lot of mentorship, we provide go-to-market access, we provide industrial partnership and business matching opportunities, all these in conjunction with other players like Hong Kong TDC. And we have an accelerator program that includes zero equity, zero cost. So it's unconditional helping to the startups. And hopefully, during the acceleration, which we call STARS program, we can actually produce unicorns for tomorrow. And we just finished the 4th cohort on food tech, and we're launching the 5th one on prop tech.
Oh, wow. I like how it's not only like a supportive system, it's not just a supportive ecosystem, but it's almost kind of like a symbiotic relationship where people are looking for unicorns, but you're also helping to create the unicorns. Wow, very refreshing. Thank you so much. Very insightful. Now, virtually with us, we have Calvin. Hi, Calvin.
Hello.
Hi, thanks
everyone.
for being with us. Now, I'm going to actually have a few questions for you. Now, as an investment bank, can you actually tell us just a bit more about AMTD's role in the whole startup ecosystem? Like, what are you guys doing in this whole picture?
Sure. I think from my end, building out AMTD, I think over the past 5 years, I still see ourselves as a startup, actually. So I think building our company day by day, but in fact, we are not just an investment bank, but then, I build out a company based on, what I call the idea strategy. So we are investment bank, we are also digital platform, we are also investing into education, talents, but also into other areas such as properties. So while we become more comprehensive. I think ultimately is to find the right model for diversity, for resilient, right, during different times, right, sustainability, but finding the right business model, I think, to grow further, to keep walking. So I think, from how I see it is that I think the support to startups, I think, are very much essential. I think I agree so much with, what the other speakers, like Jason mentioned about it. I think traditional companies, they invest into startups because they want to embrace innovation, newer ideas, but ultimately to finding newer talents or newer partners, right? So I think in this world, I think we base on our growth and momentum, I think out of ecosystem, out of partnership. So I think all this, are also the core essential values that we believe at AMTD.
Right. So that's what you guys do. Now, I'm curious about why you guys do it, because being the strategic partner of the Startup Express program, that's what, since 2 years ago in 2019. Can you tell us more about, as I said, the reason why you're supporting the program? What got you into it? I'm curious.
Well, in fact, this is the 4th year. So I think, we feel thankful to the HKTDC's overall leadership. Creating this very meaningful program. Ultimately, I think it's a combined everything you need program to nurture the startups, but also the entrepreneur. So I think we see that this is something very important. That, as I just mentioned, that we have been through the journey as a startup ourselves. So we see that I think for every startup to grow and to become strong and stronger, they need lots of support. Resources sharing, lots of hand-holding, lots of mentorship, lots of connectivity outside of, not just Hong Kong, while we are all Hong Kong born company here, but ultimately extending beyond the local presence. So, as we see that, or from AMTD side, we see it as a mission to grow from local to regional to global. So I think, we see it, as myself also see it as a very important mission that we need to support also the next generation down, the more of the younger talents of the startups. Then I think, this is, we'll enjoy a much wider ecosystem, not just for ourselves, but for Hong Kong startup ecosystem.
Wow. And do you have any expert advice for the startups if they want to maintain a sustainable growth? Because as easy as it is to start something, it's just as important to maintain anything. Do you have any pro tip on that?
I think ultimately it's to focus back into your fundamental business models because, what you do, what are your fundamental strengths, of course, are the core essential for you to grow your company, but also to win the investor interest or to keep further growing, with your competitive strengths. So I think, focus into what you do, focus into the vision, into what you believe into, but then never focus into only one point in time, but focus a lot into the longer term future, because no enterprise will only exist, for a short period of time, if it's a successful company. So it needs to be long term and longer term. So vision beyond the current point in time. So I think we always see the market, I think, having good time, bad time, and we're talking about, a very extreme situation like the COVID right now. But I think what we need to see is actually beyond the particular situation of time or special situation of time, but to go beyond that. So I think to stay committed in terms of what you believe into, I think is very much important. And I think secondly, I think it's really in terms of talents. As I'm talking about it, for AMTD side, our idea strategy, we focus a lot into the E within the idea is education. So I think, every enterprise, especially for our company, right? I think as a financial services company, but same thing, I think for, the startups, in the wider space, no matter tech, no matter innovation company, no matter different kinds, I think talents are something very much important to bring in newer ideas, newer momentums, and newer blood of talents to bring a company forward. So I think, focus into your core essence, focus into talents.
Wow, that's very good because yeah, we often get pigeonholed or even get very short-sighted or narrow-sighted. So in what you just mentioned, not only do you focus on bringing in the freshness to stay fresh with the talent, but also to think bigger, wider, and just deeper. Well, that was very insightful. Thank you very much to all three gentlemen. Thank you, Stephen, Jason, and Calvin for your inspiration and sharing. Now, gentlemen, I'm going to have to ask everyone to get ready for the next part, which is the group photo. So together with Stephen and Jason, we will have a group photo to capture this memorable moment. Now, because Calvin was on a Zoom, so therefore we're going to have his representative, Mr. Mark Lowe, CEO of AMTD Digital, to join us for this group photo. And for our media friends, don't worry, you can take the photo after the official photographers take it. Right. Very insightful sharing. A lot of also very fruitful sharing that is about to come. So everyone, please do buckle up. And again, thank you, Stephen, Jason, and Calvin for sharing with us. And thank you, Mark, for representing Calvin for the group photo. Everyone, please take a seat. Thank you. Now we will move on to our next session to talk with our scale-ups from the Startup Express Master League. Now, as Stephen actually mentioned earlier, we often see some common attributes in these growing startups, and we have actually divided them into 3 groups today to talk about their growing journey, as well as to share with us some tips that they might have. So for this first group, we're just going to have all the gentlemen, everyone just get ready and take your seat as we will begin the session right now. So don't be shy, everyone, please take a seat. Thank you, thanks for coming in. Now, first we'll focus on their vision and passion and how they have gone through the ups and downs to sustain their businesses. Now, we have Sigurd Anders Berg, product manager and software engineer of Incas Company Limited. Thank you. And next to him is Hugo Wong, sales director, Return Helper Limited. Thank you so much for being with us, gentlemen. Thank you. Now, let me start with kind of more like a warm-up, kind of broader question. Both of you guys can answer if you like. Now, during your startup journey, I'm sure, or even just in any business journey in general, I'm sure there's a lot of people who give comments and opinions, solicited or not solicited, positive or negative. What is the harshest comment you have ever received so far? And how did you actually overcome it, just to keep yourself going and growing? You guys can jump in anytime you want.
Well, maybe I answer first.
Go
Thank
ahead.
you, Melody.
Yep.
Actually, for us, of course, we see a lot of comments, and I think the hardest part for startups is find things. And the hardest part we see from the investors is that they don't really know what we are doing, and especially because we are doing cross-border e-commerce platform. You know that Hong Kong is very limited market, so the main market actually is in China. So we understand that the investors, they may not fully understand what our core values is providing, and that is why when we talk to the investors, they don't see the values, and we spend a lot of effort to talk to them.
Right.
But as Jason said, we believe in our vision. We understand that, especially in the COVID, now actually everyone know that e-commerce is growing up and growing up. And a lot of returns happening, especially when you're doing major platforms like eBay, Amazon. So that's why our team, our talents, they really believe what we're doing. And we just keep doing what we're believing. Right. And finally, when the times come, it will know. So this is our core. This is how we actually overcome.
So you plow through it by basically showing them more clarity in terms of what you're doing.
Exactly. So because the investor, they're talking about numbers,
right?
And we have to understand the reason that we have to learn about the language. So we understand how to talk to investors, proving that we are doing the right thing, and our team understand what we're doing. Right. What we are doing as well. So
because sometimes they're banning you because they just don't understand. It's not that they don't like your concept. Now, what's your take on that, Sigurd? Do you have anything that you've heard that you thought was just absolutely terrible? Anything like that?
Well, I think there's been a lot of harsh comments. Like early on, when we only had a demo, someone said, "Oh, you can never turn that into a real product," but we did. And then some people said, "Oh, you can never compete with the existing big brands in this industry, but we did. And I think the thing is, they didn't see our whole picture, and they didn't have the full understanding of the industry, which is that in the hearing aid industry, the distribution model is actually very slow and inefficient, and it's not actually good enough for the customers. So we come in with a different business model, and then they just say, no, it won't work. But at least we're doing our best to make it work.
Right, because I know the type of hearing aids that you guys are making, it's quite different than the traditional ones, because my grandma wears hearing aids and she always complains that the background noise is way too noisy, so it just amplifies everything. But whereas with your product, it can kind of simultaneously tell what's a human voice and the background noise and separate it, which actually, in a way, if the person doesn't know you, it sounds almost too good to be true, and they'll be like, no way.
Yeah, I guess that's why they say you cannot turn it into a product. But now you're welcome to come and try.
I was like, I challenge you, right? Now, I know that some people actually say that, hey, starting a business is actually no different than riding a roller coaster. You have your ups and downs. Now, is there actually any moment, any particular moment in your career, in your business, where you're like, okay, that's it. I'm just going to quit right now. It's not going to work. And how did you actually recover from that? Did you have moments like that?
I believe every single startups we actually face a lot of challenging every single day, because we start a business, we have no ideas actually how to run a very good practical business, right? So the market is changing, customers' needs is changing, everything, even the technology is changing. So we have to adopt the pace of the technology and also the needs from the market. So that's why we actually have a lot of challenges. But the core thing is that you have a very good team, a very strong team that believes and gives support when you are down or what we are facing, because we want people to solve the problems, and talents always try to solve the problems, and that's why we have a very good culture for Return Helper, and that makes us very strong. What doesn't really kill you make you strong. That is what we believe.
That's actually very true. Do you have anything to add to that?
I think I want to share just a quick story, which is actually early on, we spent nearly 1 year doing demonstrations, negotiating contracts, and so on with a very big corporate to provide technology for them. And we thought everything was under control. We were going to have a lot of cash flow and revenue coming in. But then one day, they just told us, no, we'll try to develop this by ourselves. We don't need you. So at that moment, it felt like very crushing. But actually, we turned the rage or the disappointment into energy, and we pitched to more and more corporates and managed to land a few technology licensing deals.
Right. Now, just adding on to that, if you could actually go back in time and actually, in your business journey, is there anything that you would have done different now thinking back? Because you were just saying, right, you were doing all these presentations, everything, going through everything. Is there anything that you would have done differently, or is no, I would have done exactly the same?
I think there's a couple of things. One is to really put yourself out there. And I think HKTDC with Startup Express can help you to do that with events, helping to get media coverage and so on. Because you don't need to hide your idea just by yourself. Just put yourself out there, get feedback, and then you'll learn from the market. Yep.
Right, because I mean the support is already there. We heard earlier today, it's been a very supportive community. So why not use that? How about you, Hugo? Anything you would want to change if you could go back in time?
Yes, I think at the very early stage, I found actually do it as a part-time job instead of fully concentrating the business. And because we try to play safe, but actually playing smart is not a very smart way or wise way.
What's smart?
Play it in a smart way is not a really good way to start a business, because when you start a business, there are a lot of challenges every single day. So when you're doing part-time, it's hard to handle it, or you make it very, very frustrated and exhausted. So, but when you do it in a focused way, everything will be very clear because you focus. You know that what you're doing. And so if really times go back, maybe the founder actually would just do it in a full-time way.
Right.
So it will make the pace faster and faster.
Yeah, then you would probably, and with the support, from
Exactly.
HKTDC, you would get to your goal a lot faster. Now, let's talk a little bit about, related to a pandemic. Now, I know that the working environment of startup companies is generally quite commonly known as, passionate and dynamic. Now, how do you think the COVID pandemic has actually affected or changed that in any way? And if yes, how do you suggest overcoming that? Or no, it hasn't changed a lot. You can say that too.
I think with the pandemic, you cannot tolerate as much bullshit. You need to really make better decisions and make more rational decisions. Otherwise, you will die. The pandemic kind of highlights this. It creates some urgency. And I think in terms of passion, it doesn't affect it negatively. I think it can actually enhance your passion and also how dynamic the company is. Because once the pandemic broke out, the market kind of changed drastically. So you have to be more dynamic, actually.
More agile as well, just to catch all the changes. How about you, Hugo?
I think I will add one more. One thing is rationally passionate and dynamic, because you have to, as I said, startup, there are a lot of challenges and changes. But if you keep just passionate, it's not enough. You have to clear why you're doing that. This is the rationale behind. So if there's no rationale, it's hard for you to keep focusing and passionate, because there are a lot of challenges and difficulties that you're facing, the environment and emotionally, the people, employees, or call it, actually feel it. So you have to understand what you're doing. And luckily, because we are doing e-commerce cross-border, actually the industry is growing. And for COVID, and with the startups, we use a lot of online tools like Zoom, Slack, and Trello to handle our jobs and to talk to the teammates. And that is why there's not much effect. Instead, this helped us to really grow fast, because we believe talents, we don't talk too much.
Right.
We trust them, let them just performing. And that's why, for us, it's good for us to actually do it.
Wow. Yeah. So it sounds like there's a commonality between what Jutu just said there. It's kind of like trimming the fat, but also it's a test for how passionate and how knowledgeable you are. It really does shake things up, but it actually shows who's truly got what it takes. Because as you just mentioned, Hugo, if you have passion, but you don't have the rationale, or if you're not rational about it, then it still falls apart, right? Now, which actually makes me think of another question. What is the bottleneck in your business? It may not be even COVID related, but I'm sure just anything, even when you're working out, going on a diet, doing anything, there's a bottleneck. What was that? Did you guys meet that bottleneck yet? Or multiple bottlenecks?
Yeah, so we are very technology focused. So for us, the bottleneck has always been engineers. So Hong Kong has a lot of smart people, but not enough people. So that's why we actually set up a subsidiary in Shenzhen, and then we managed to tap into the talent pool of mainland China and all the manufacturing capability in the Greater Bay Area as well.
Right. So okay. So that's right, because I think a lot of people, they kind of get they kind of get pigeonholed, because they're like, okay, we just get to keep finding the talents here, but no, there's just not enough people. It's a population thing, right? So there's no shame to actually look outside and look for the people who's also looking for you too. Good call on that one. How about you, Hugo?
So actually, for startups, everyone know that the core value is that we solve problems. And when you think about returns, and we actually start in Hong Kong, but when we're going to expand, and also during the pitching, we understand finally that the bottleneck for us, for return helper, is the market in Hong Kong is not that big. That's why we thank you for HKTDC as well, because it gives us a lot of support, and we connect. It helped to connect with Taiwan and Singapore, and in the future we're going to expand to China as well.
Sweet.
So that the bottleneck actually is it depends on the stage. Each stage we have different bottleneck, but right now is the market, and we thank you for HKTDC as well.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a two-way thing. It's kind of like expanding not just the talent pool, but also the market reach. Now, which actually leads me to my last question is, what's your future plans, to growing your business? Do you have anything in mind, or is it kind of like, kind of plan as I go? What is it? What is it that's going through your head?
Yeah, right now, and also with the support of the HKTDC, we will scale up primarily in the mainland China market. Mainland China have been much quicker to rebound from the pandemic.
Right.
So now things are also getting better in Hong Kong. So we do a lot of offline retail across mainland China and trying to enter more and more provinces at this time. Yeah.
Okay. And how about you, Hugo? What's your plans?
For Return Hub, actually, for us is we will keep growing the business in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and also Singapore, because there are still a lot of room for us to improve, and there's a lot of opportunity there. But in the future, definitely is China, because especially for e-commerce cross-border, China will definitely a big, very huge market. So the plan definitely is in China.
Yeah, because I know you guys are going through a Series A fundraising right now, right?
Yeah, it's correct.
Good luck with that. I know you guys will get it.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
Melody.
so much, gentlemen. Wow, that was actually quite a lot. Thank you very much. Very insightful sharing. Everyone, big round of applause again. Thank you. Thank you, Hugo. Thank you, Sigurd. Now, next up, we will actually have the next group to talk about their adaptability and the market distribution, especially under these challenging situation that is at the pandemic. I got Mei-Zing Lee, CEO and co-founder of Contact Beverage Limited, next to me. Next to her, we have Toby So, founder and CEO, Film Players Limited. And then we have Justin Chan, a CEO and co-founder, Gens Technologies Limited. So you guys probably know the drill. I'll probably start with something to warm up so that we just get everyone to have more like a broader question. Now, just feel free to jump in anytime. Don't have to be too polite. There's no particular order. Now, we know that the COVID pandemic has actually affected many startups and businesses as well. Now, can you actually share us the adaptation of your business in this difficult time? How did you guys actually adapt?
Okay, maybe I'll go
Sure.
first because we're doing wellness products, and actually COVID-19 has provided us an opportunity to tailor product like formulations specific for immunity with our turmeric blend, with our soothing blend that actually helps with your immunity boost. All these kind of special formulations that we develop is actually perfect for right now, especially under the new normal with the work from home situation, and also at corporate offices where they actually are more conscious about employee well-being. So that's why we've been doing a lot of different more like corporate trial programs at the offices for the employees, as well as a lot of partnerships with wellness brands. And that actually has given us a lot of traction in building Life's brand as one of the health-related functional wellness brand in terms of the product. And I think for distribution side, we have been working a lot during these few months when in the summertime, we'll also launch a few pop-ups, like B2C pop-ups, also with some wellness brands partnership that we are actually envisioning the same from health, wellness to lifestyle products. So it's actually also quite interesting time for us to do all these adaptations.
Oh, wow. I like it because I'm sure, a lot of people are like, so what do you do during the pandemic? Well, if you don't know what to do, help other people solve problems, right? So how about you guys? How did you guys get at it?
Maybe me first?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, we changed our business mode before the pandemic. We have a dream in big expansion. But with the pandemic, we're back to survival mode. Everything just back to business. We focus more to locally. Maybe we skip some local business before. We try to expand more. We see them in Japan. We see other company. We have Germany. We have France. We have Singapore. TDC helped us a lot to start something overseas. But when the pandemic come, everything seems like stopped. So we come back to Hong Kong market, try to focus more. Right. So this is maybe a good chance for us to see whether we can survive in Hong Kong or not.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
That's another way of business, I think.
Right, that's kind of interesting too, because in the last session we were talking about expanding to overseas market, but then there's also opportunities in the local market as long as you can help, again, fix problems, right? Now, how about you, Justin? How did you get at it? Anything?
So it certainly sped up a bit of a process. So as a background, we do medical imaging. So quite a lot of those gave us a sort of a funnel and focuses in terms of what should we do with first.
Right.
So one thing that came up was obviously the sped up of acceleration of telemedicine. So with our remote diagnostic device, with a bit of screening, we have done several trials. That is a lot faster than we're planning to do. So we have done trials in recovered COVID patients for long-term monitoring. We have done more on a sort of longer-term doctor-patient engagement where they can do fatty liver imaging, they can do other sort of kidney imaging with a remote modality. So those sort of things that gave us a unique focus that would spur us on in the sort of a coming pandemic situation.
Right. Now, since we're on the pandemic kind of on topic right now, when the pandemic is going to end one day, we know that for sure. When it comes to an end, do you think that will actually heavily impact some of the development plans or the business decisions that you guys are making today? What do you think, and what do you anticipate?
I think we all have to be ready because when the economy, tourism recovers, then we have to be in full gear to also anticipate a new wave of, say, traveling. It will be very different than now. It will be more exclusive. The experiences will be more personalized. And also that would be where we're coming in right now is focusing our efforts also with B2B partners,
Right.
like hospitality groups in the kind of like spa and also like F&B areas to equip them with the wellness offerings that they need, because everyone really want to provide something better for the customer. So that's where we are at. And of course, when pandemic is really over, we can't wait to attend all these international trade shows, which we have received very well, like a lot of great contacts in the past from TDC support at CES, IFA, all these shows to look for the right partners and distributors. So right now we're doing like market tests in different countries, like USA and also Southeast Asia, hoping to first, I think, locate the right partners in the B2B area to expand our business.
Wow, sounds like you're so ready. Here's like, I'm ready to go. And how about Toby, Justin, do you feel that same energy, or do you have a different take on it?
You mean the pandemic comes to an end?
Yeah, when it's over. Like, do you think would you regret taking some of the decisions that you do now and you're going to change directions?
The first thing I got to do is fly overseas to get back all the account receivable. Yeah. Thanks for TDC, and I get different project in all over the world.
Right.
And then I get account receivable in all over the world. So now I can't fly. The customer just say, I will pay you back when you come here. Yeah. So I think it will be a long journey for me.
Right.
For money.
Right. It's more like it turned from a sprint to more like a half marathon, but still there's lots of hope. How about you?
So it's roughly the same for us because we're in remote modality. We're looking at remote diagnostic as well. So it's pretty much, of course, the earlier advance, the easier for everyone. We can do UX face-to-face. We can do client meetings. We have innovative products. So having those sort of face-to-face time would definitely help a lot. But at the same time, I think all of us are starting to get used to this sort of arrangement. Of course, we have preferences, but to us, it's something that we're adapting to, and because of the support that we've been given for TDC and the adaptive world in sort of virtual meetings, it's not going to be a big difference for us.
Right. Now, one thing that I actually hear in common between all of your answers is that sooner or later, the business, doesn't matter if it's the market that you're expanding, that you're tapping into, or just your business in general, it's going to grow. And that's what you're aiming for. Now, what is the main consideration when you guys are aiming to have your company grow, be it, market or the company in general? What are some of the main things?
So to us, it's all, the lending partners that we have in those markets. Because one of the main things that we have to be honest ourselves is that there are a lot of markets. We can't handle them all extremely well because we need to understand the local context.
Right.
So one thing that we're really grateful to support is how TTT help us sort of curate a list of potential partners that we can look into. And then with those sort of facilitation in between, it does help a lot because you need someone who knows the market, how you cater a product to that, how you angle the sales channel, and how you can adapt to sort of nitty-gritty things like certification, a bit of who you should talk to, what sort of government officials that you need to deal with. Those sort of partners with that is one of the main things that we look at. And certainly TDC is helping us a lot on that.
Right. And Toby? Amazing.
Yeah, very much agree. I think in order to find the right partners, we also need to know what we are good at and strong at, because it's all about the speed to market when we launch in a new market. And really, like, I think now the barrier is we can't really go to meet these partners face to face. But then if we have established a certain kind of go-to-market strategy already in Hong Kong and duplicate that in other markets, it will be more efficient. So those partners we need to find, they have to be very trustworthy and they have a long-term vision to develop business with us, and that they see the value also in building the business together. I think really building that trust is very important to really expanding our business.
Oh, definitely. I can't agree more. Anything you want to add?
For me, is we focus back to engineering support.
Right.
In the pandemic time, we think the failure troubleshooting, we will get some problem for that. So I think if we can go back or the situation getting better, we will focus more to the local talent, local engineer.
Right.
For better engineering support. Of course, now I think the world is fair. Everyone is online meeting. So maybe US, Japan, or Europe is just watching what we are watching now, or everyone the same. So we do the Zoom meeting, so wherever in the world is the same. But the problem is the engineering support we still need locally.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I actually touched a little bit on it. Now, I was talking about, like, what's your main consideration when you're expanding? But now, with the expanding scale of your business, how does that actually affect your business, both internally and externally? Like, do they have different impacts, or would you say it's more or less the same, or?
I would say internally, we really have to be focused on what we do, because we only have this amount of resources right now. I mean, everybody is under a very tight budget to do a lot of, say, marketing events. So when we focus on in our company, we do formulations, right? So we do also hardware. But I think really identifying the part where you're strong at and developing that further, and also at the same time outsourcing some things that you actually could. For example, distribution. That's something that most of the startups have kind of not yet established network in. Right. So that would be very helpful internally. And also, I think externally, definitely when we face investors, it's also important to have this always, with the trend and also foreseeing the upcoming, scenario and having different pivots in our business, because then that's also how we can get quick wins and how we could scale with a certain amount of funding within a short period of time. So I think at this still quite challenging time for most of us, I think also believing that what you truly believe in, the true value of the business and the value you can create would be the most vital to expanding the business further.
Okay, so I get it. So for internal, for you, that I guess it's more about getting lean, whereas for external, it's about having a much more clear roadmap compared to before, or if ever. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to build on that about the lean thing. It does put things a lot in perspective, because the team, as a startup, normally you generate a lot more leads than what you can handle. So it really puts into perspective on where you're first starting, you grab on every opportunity. Right now you have to start picking. And then, you, of course, you would still diversify yourself in case you do need to pivot, you explore different opportunities. But you have a very clear goal in terms of what you need to prioritize. And then because the deadline's looming with all those things coming on, you have a much clearer perspective in terms of what you should do first. So internally, we get a lot of excitement. But at the same time, there's a lot more structure in terms of how we pick our battles in that sense. And externally, it's not just about the number of players that you're dealing with. It's a type of players as well. At the first, you might just be dealing with sort of a prototype manufacturers. And then right now, you're looking into mass production, you're looking into distribution, you're looking into a lot more different sort of local trials that you have to do, and then partners as well. Even governments. So all those things, it's sort of a managing perspective that we have to look into, but at the same time, it's certainly making both internal and external conversation a lot more exciting for us.
Anything to add to that? Or no. It seems like I think they've pretty much got it covered. I think, sorry. Yeah. See, that's what happens when you let them talk first, is because they covered everything you're about to say. But I do agree because, you know, with what you just said, like, for example, if you have the roadmap and then you have the lean concept, it's almost like the other way around, like when you just said it, Justin, like you have that roadmap, and then it kind of dictates the fact that you have to be lean about it. Then you know what you're lean about. So I think that's actually quite a good sequence as well. Now, I'm going to ask, you know, with HKTDC support, what do you think actually helped you like the most that you thought is like, wow, this is amazing? Is there anything that, the first thing that came to mind? Because I know there's a lot that they were facilitating and helping in the journey, but what was that one big thing that you're like, oh, geez, this is great, this is awesome, can't live without it, that kind of awesomeness?
Yeah, I think that definitely the trade shows. It's really for us as a Hong Kong company, we're really eyeing an international market.
Right.
So all these windows to get the feedback on the product, it's extremely important. Yeah.
And Toby, do you have anything?
For me, trade show is important because to many new markets, we have no contact there.
Right.
Just like TDC helped us before in Japan, in France, in Europe. Yeah, I think if back to normal, that's important for us.
Right, because they do serve as pretty much like your guide in those markets.
Yeah, so buyers and exposure, we've been exposed to like 20 markets since we joined TDC's program. And then the media exposure is, of course, something we really appreciate as well.
Right. Well, as much as I want to ask more questions, it seems like that's it for this session. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's put our hands together for them once again. Very fruitful discussion. Thank you once again. I'll see you in no time. Thank you. Wow, that was awesome. Love it, love it. Now we're moving on to our third group for today. This next group will talk about the uniqueness of their products as well as their solutions. And not only that, they will actually talk about how they grow and how they stand out in the market. Next to me, I have Chen Ming Chu, Chief Technology Officer, CYC Motor Limited. Next to him, we have Andy Ma, Co-founder, Kufi Development Limited. And we have Andrea Helena Lai, Development Community Manager of Mad Gaze. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming in. So I'm very excited to actually know now, since you guys have actually first launched your product, have you actually enhanced it in different ways? Because the startups or even the businesses sometimes that I see, the most impactful thing is I remember like their key product, but then I kind of fade out, or I can't remember. It's like, did they actually have an upgrade, or did they actually have like a 2.0 or anything? So, can you tell us if there's any with your product, and can you actually share us your inspiration, you know, in that journey of product development? Anyone can just jump in if there's anytime.
Thank you, Melody. So I think it's really important for us, for the team, to have the ability to combine their experience, their perspective, their awareness to create business advantage. Because especially in this rapid evolving technological world, you just really have to be really familiar and keep an eye on the latest technology trends. Also, products are built for customers, right? So for every product release, we have always collect different product feedbacks from our customers, just to make sure we understand that who they really are, what are their needs. So by getting this data, it allows us to really get insights on any problem areas so we can improve, and to narrow down, like to focus on a few key important areas, such as because we are a smart glasses company, so we can focus on a few areas such as the smart glasses appearance, size and weight, price, or even like color variations. So with these insights, it really allows us to enhance our user experience, and through continuous improvements, We see a really great growth in our global market share throughout the past 2 years.
Yeah, because you guys make the smart glasses for the
Exactly.
mix and augmented reality, which you can use on like tablets and phones and pretty much screens. And,
Exactly.
like, even to somebody that's not in the industry, we could probably imagine, the application of that is actually quite diverse. And with that diversity, there's just so much information that you guys are taking in that kind of almost pushes you to actually, to actually improve your products and actually to increase the kind of applications that you guys have. Now, how about for you guys?
For me, I think sometimes you want to improve your product, you need to listen to the market. And sometimes you can't wait because if you wait for the market response, sometimes you just get some complaint. So before you get some complaint, you should ask the clients first, ask them what they need and what is what's the improvement in their opinion. So that's one of my points. Another point is that sometimes if you want to increase the product, you can, for example, we are developing a motor. Some kinds of motor is this big, and then why not we make it smaller? You should ask a question whether you have pushed the technology to the limit.
Ooh.
Yes. Make a motor smaller, but with the same power, same torque, and then no compromise. And another part to the product development is you can look for another market. Yes. Can I ask you a question, Melody? Do you love bicycle?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So maybe for my product, there's a e-bike motor system. 90% of our clients is men.
Right.
So why not we cannot sell for ladies? Yes.
Right.
Maybe lady market is a good market, right?
Oh.
Sometimes you should think differently.
Right.
Yes.
So suddenly
So
you open
looking
a
for a
bigger
different market. Yes.
It's the same product, but you're catering.
Yeah, but you can change the appearance, make it more appealing to the ladies.
That's
Yes.
really smart.
Yes.
They do that with razor blades. The guy razor blades and the girl razor blades are essentially the same thing, but don't know why the women ones are more expensive. But it's the same thing with face washes for men. It's the same thing. You guys are paying for the exact same face wash, but except for it's double the price. But you do have a good point. For Ming, actually, I think I've seen similar products in Japan before.
Yeah.
When anyone's been to Japan before? Pedaled on a bicycle in Tokyo or in Osaka, when they have the pedal assist, it turns any hill into a flat ground.
Yes.
That's the kind of assist,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Awesome stuff.
It's very appealing.
Oh yeah, definitely. And thank God you're actually targeting the
yes,
female.
You should
population.
try. Yes.
Oh, I tried it. That's why I know it exists.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I felt actually quite delighted. Now, and how about you, Andy? Do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I'm going to give a full presentation of my new product here.
Oh, what is that? Let's see.
Actually, we are Kuvi. This is electronic skateboard that mimics surfing on land. So the very first product we launched was basically focusing on giving that motion, that experiencing, allowing to feel like you're surfing on land. And later on, in 2019, we launched a second version, which is lighter, smaller, and actually make a last mile transportation. And this product we have here is even smaller. It's catered for teenagers. It's even lighter and less expensive. So we are bringing more new products to market based on what we learned from the market when we launch our product. Yeah, so we have a full range of product coming in the next few years.
So what is exactly the name of that product? That looks way
Surf
too
wheel.
futuristic.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's a name for that.
It's called Surf Wheel.
Surf wheel.
Yeah, so it's mobilized by a single wheel in the center.
Ah.
So the wheel has a unique tire tread that drifts when you apply pressure on land, so you feel like surfing. So we launched our very first product, which was like 32 inches, very heavy, 48 kg in weight. And then we later on modify and spend another 4 years making a smaller, more compact product, which is still 8.8 kg in weight.
Whew.
So then we have a lineup of new features, new function to make the product lighter, more suitable for different ages, type of users, and more safer.
Different ages, yeah. That's right. You can target different genders. Now there's different ages. But I'm sorry, I was like, what is that thing called? It just looks way too futuristic. I hope I'm not the only one that doesn't know what that thing is. But that's really cool. Thanks for explaining that. Now, I know because of the COVID, there's in terms of the physical or the personal experience when we interact with people. Well, that has been obviously reduced. You know, we have meetings via Zoom and everything now. How does that actually affect your strategies when you're trying to sell or even to promote your product? Because if you look at what you guys have, like, I mean, it's probably nicer that if people get to step on it. And for your the smart glass, it would be nice if people have it in front of them. And same thing with yours, right? I mean, for your product, for the assisted bike motors, it would be nice to actually put it to use. So how do you guys actually sell it and present it when the people can't touch it?
The pandemic help us to think about this problem. And let me ask this question in a different way.
Okay.
If you sell your product only by some physical experience, how many products you can sell? Maybe several people, right? So the most important to sell a product is the reputation of the company. You need to tell the client we have a good product, not just by a physical experience. It is important, but the most important is how to build up a good reputation. So our strategy is we will sell our product to some KOL. So after they test it, and then I will ask the KOL to post some video or some comment on YouTube or other channel. So after our client review this comment, they have more confidence to buy our product.
Oh, so
Yes.
you guys are going by word of mouth. That's really smart.
Yes, if I tell you I have a good product, do you believe? If you don't know me,
Right.
right? So it's better to sell through the third party.
Right.
Yes.
Because it's not up to you to say how good you are. It's one
yes,
of those
yes.
things that people have to say about
Yes.
you. Completely agree. How did you two get at it?
I think we adopted a very different strategy compared to pre-pandemic. In the past, because of the support from HKTDC, we were lucky that we always get different customers from different countries to become our distributor to help us promote and sell the products.
Right.
So we have the opportunity to only focus on developing the products. But what we missed out was we actually did not spend the time to understand how our distributor, our partner, develop the product market fit strategy in each of the regions, such as China, Japan. Sometimes they fail, sometimes it works, but we never learned from our distributor. They just disappeared and we found a new one from HKTDC. It wasn't that difficult. So in the pandemic, we instead of trying to fetch all the opportunities, we compare and ask ourselves, so what we try to achieve doing, we try to get, from my perspective, get all the kids enjoying the surf field themselves. So we picked one particular market, which is USA. And for 1 year during the pandemic, I'm focusing on, by myself and some marketers that worked with me through the internet, the Zoom. So we focused 100% on marketing products online. And talking to consumers, serving them from Hong Kong. So it was never something that I wanted to do when I built a startup. We want to get the money, we want to invest into more product, more people, and get more people to sell the product and license the product. So in the pandemic, I have the opportunities to 100% focusing on directing each of the media videos that I used to promote the product.
Right.
It was even an opportunity for us to do it because the cost of doing marketing was actually less expensive. We happened to get a YouTuber who is the top electric skateboard training school, which has over 5 million followers. They only
5 million?
5 million.
Wow.
It only cost like few thousand
Sweet.
to shoot the training videos
Sweet.
during the pandemic. So I think I became a movie director at that time. So I make over like 20, 30 videos with different YouTubers and really speak to each of the consumer in the first region and really crack the product market fit understanding why and what price they're paying, what are the features they are looking for, and build the first market that allow us to be profitable, which will allow us to be sustainable in the long run. So I think post-pandemic, it will open up a lot more opportunities because we have make a proven product market fit in one particular region.
Right.
From Hong Kong, like a very remote location, just shipping product from Hong Kong to there and be able to serve them. So we can use that model to allow other distributors, when the market is ready again, to expand the business.
Wow, you maximize that at a fraction of the cost too. Good job. And how about you, Andrea? How did you guys get at it?
Oh, so the COVID-19 has definitely affected us in terms of the delay in the production and shipment. Especially, we have 2 new products launched last year, which is really a hard time for us. And we see a really high demand in customer service. So we spend a lot of time and effort to ensure the after-sales service is good before doing the sales and promotions. Similar, we've also done a lot of marketing campaigns. We've also invited a lot of YouTube KOLs to do a lot of unboxing videos for us to see, to do different technical reviews. And then we've also proactively expand our sales channel, both offline and online around the globe. And by this, it can greatly increase our sales and then to raise consumer awareness. It can also help us to, because if you can distribute your products all around the globe to the local distributors or retailers, they can really help us to reduce the cost and hassle of us shipping the products by ourselves, and as well as different marketing costs.
Right. Now, one final question for me is like, what's your plans in terms of, despite everything, in your plans of growing your business, and what direction are you guys thinking about going? Because, some people are like, oh, I'm going to change it like 180. And some people are like, no, I'm just going to do more of what I'm doing. What is it like for you guys, your general direction when you want to grow your business, say, for the future that's coming up?
For us, we're planning to go to the going public in the stock market in a few years. Yeah, so we will strive our best to continue to maintain our position as a market leader in the AR smart glasses company by continually to develop different innovative and competitive AR smart glasses.
Good job. And you?
And in our company, because we are building a buy system, and if it related to a system, it's not just a motor part.
Right.
Because we need some more accessory, something like the sensor, something like the battery. In our company, we would like to develop the integrated system, something not just the motor, all parts we will make.
Wow, quite comprehensive there. And how about you, Andy?
So I think the overall strategy remain the same, except that we will put more focus on single market, which is the US market I just mentioned. And we do it really well on that particular market.
Good job.
So put more focus, yeah.
Good job. Thank you so much, all of you. Everyone, let's give them a big round of applause again. Thank you for the sharing. Everyone, thank you. And I just want to say thank you again to all of our guests for the sharing and the participation for today. Everyone that is here with us, to everyone that was on stage, everyone that's watching at home, I believe you must have learned a lot from them, just like I did. But before you go, we're happy to announce that the Startup Express digital book, A Journey to Success, is launching soon, which gives you more idea of the Startup Express program. And it actually as far as I can remember, it features a collection of the winner's story that is over the years under 4 different themes. So together with a list of company director for the 3 cohorts of startup is the startup publication that you do not want to miss. And of course, for startups that's interested to join in the next cohort of the Startup Express program, please do submit your application as soon as possible. The application closes on the 12th of May, which is very fast, actually. And now here comes the end of today's event. Everyone, thank you once again for your participation. We will see you again soon in our next event. My name is MC Melody, and I will see you again in no time. Have a good day.